What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from the Dyslexic Investor. And yes, it has been what a week. It has actually taken me. I still haven't quite fundamentally understand what really happened this week. There is a lot of information, a lot of things that I just don't honestly quite understand on my my small brain level here regarding about all the stocks being restricted, limited, having a short float of nearly over 100%. There's clearly something brewing here, as you can see with GME. I'm not going to be talking about what GME or Wall Street Bets in that sense, but there has been plenty of coverage on that, especially highlighting the explosive stuff here in the last week or so of, again, hedge funds coming in and just playing the ego mode of just basically having the, which I call the Spider-Man meme, which again, a lot of people have talked about. If you haven't seen the Spider-Man meme, it's basically when it's two Spider-Mans that are duplicates just pointing at each other, just trying to figure out which one's which and which really is the proper Spider-Man. But anyways, without further ado, we're going to be jumping into about the 50 plus stocks that are currently restricted as of Friday on Robinhood. And I honestly don't quite understand the impact on this as well. Again, this is a pretty tremendous impact in the sense of like, hey, this platform in particular is saying that, hey, you as an investor or trader or whatever you categorize yourself as can only buy one share of American Airline. That seems doesn't seem right? I think everyone can understand that. Like, hey, I only can buy one share, but I can sell as many as I want. It seems it's very front running and really loading the side of the sellers, aka the short sellers, aka the hedge funds, aka Citadel. But anyways, I'm not going to go into that crazy scenarios there and basically the train there. But that being said, let's go ahead and jump into this article here from CNBC. Basically, again, titling that the Robinhoods still have several limiting trading. Customers can only buy one share of GameStop and, of course, a smorgasbord of other ones. It's going to be kind of a long video, so be mindful of that. We're going to be going down to each and single one of these stocks, and we're going to be looking at a chart perspective. If it's a buy, sell, or whatsoever. Again, I wish they would put a column next to it and show the short float, because that is, again, I'm not saying this is because of short float. These are stocked, but again, we're talking, of course, why is GM being stopped? Like, that seems really strange. I can understand Nokia or KOSS here. But why is open? Why is RLX? Like, isn't that like Rackspace or something like that? Starbucks, is it limited to one share? Like, who's front running Starbucks, right? I can see SNDL, again, that's been that, but this is the stuff where I'm just trying to understand of like the crazy impact. They have SOXL, that's the ETF that does the semiconductors. That is the AMD, the Intels, the Nvidias, the TSMs, all those companies fall into that ETF. And when you start trading an ETF, that seems a little sus. That seems extremely like you're really hindering the bulls, really just hindering the market. You're basically saying, okay, we're going to have a race, 100-yard dash, but for you, it's actually going to be a 150-yard dash, and this guy's only going to be a 50-yard dash. So we're going to split the difference, and we're going to have the person that we want to win run a 50-yard dash, and you're going to run 150 and try to beat them. It's basically stacking the cards, sandbagging it, whatever you want to call it as, in my book here. So without further ado, we're just going to be jumping in, looking at these charts again. A little bit of a long-winded video here. And if you're not interested in any of this stuff, just go ahead and skip along, and we'll have another fancy time to talk again. If you're not interested, move along. And as well, we do have a live stream coming out tonight at 9:30, so hopefully we'll see you there. Definitely going to be talking about a handful of these stocks at that point in time as well. So I'm going to move this again to the side here, and we're going to be jumping in right into the very first stock. We have AAL, which is, of course, American Airline Group. This thing has been very much beaten down. Looking here technically on a chart here, It's looking pretty much for a pullback here. We're looking for some support coming in around $16.86 to even $16 even. We do have a squeeze here, and we do have the oscillators trying to print higher here. Even with this last quarter, we had a little run up here, but you saw where it ran up to. It ran up to that nearly that 22.17 range. It kind of came right back down. Initially looking for some support around that $16 range. If we can hold that, we can try to rip higher to kind of get back above that $20 level. Next one in line is ACB. Not ACE, not doing Aussie Canadian dollar. You silly think or swim. Of course, another a cannabis play here. This one has also been stopped in the sense of only can buy one share of an $11 stock. That seems insane. Even they're stopping in restriction here. It's coming up into earnings again. You saw last earnings really took off here. Look what we're looking here to try to break above $13.14, $13.15. That is that 200 EMA here. Looking for some initial support around 10.17, so 10.13 there as well. Again, that trend has been holding fairly well here around the 21 and 34 EMA. Next one is AG. So this is the next like Wall Street bets kind of thing. They're trying to get the short squeezing of the silver market, and this is a silver market miner, I believe. And this thing, again, you can really see this has also been restricted to one share. We saw the last 2 days really pop up to some really key levels here around that $17 to $18 level and have been kind of holding above that. If we do get a break here, the next level would be really much higher to around $26 to $27. If that does move higher here, be mindful. This is also with earnings coming out in the middle of February. We do have some initial short-term support around $15 to the downside. Next one, I think everyone knows this one, the old AMC. Again, the movie theater business. This has been one of the main ones. This was actually restricted for I think about like 3 or 4 hours, maybe 24 hours. But now you're able to buy one share. Whoopie-doo, right? That being said here, initial short-term support is going to be coming around $8.79, even down to $10.43. But again, those candles don't look too pretty here. A lot of red here, but just look at these capitulations from $20 all the way down to $11 in one day. Like this is not a very normal scenario here. If this does want to run higher, that $20 level is going to be the next level to be tested there. And one that's in one of my favorite stocks is AMD. This is restricted. Why is AMD restricted? That's really strange, right? You're only allowed to buy one share. Sadly, this just had earnings this week here. It had great numbers, but it just sold off here. Again, it really broke below 86. We are looking for some initial support around $84 to even $81. It had the squeeze fire short. We saw the squeeze fire short last time around earnings, and it fell for about 5 days. So initially seeing if the overall market can kind of stay healthy, meaning like the SPY and QQQ, we could see a further pullback with AMD. If not, we can get a V-shaped recovery here, potentially around $84 to $81, and try to test and get back our head above water around $89. Next one is going to be BB. Of course, this one is, again, you'll see this one has jumped up substantially, kind of almost like somewhat similar to the GME pattern. The only one on this one is it's kind of dying off here because we're seeing it has not been able to really get back above that $20 range. This has really significantly pulled back here. We are initially looking for some support around $12.61, potentially trying to stay above $15.91 to the next side for BB. Another BB, we're going to do BBBY. Of course, this is Bed Bath & Beyond. Kind of similar chart that you just saw with BB. Kind of a very strong cup and handle, and then like an explosive top here. And then you're seeing that volume here, kind of making like an reversible middle finger, if that's a word. But again, we have some short-term support coming in around $34.65 and then back down to $30, which is the parabolic SAR dots. And the 21 EMA is just right below that. If we're trying to break above here, we have a Fibonacci number around $41 to try to break above. And this is one I'm not too familiar with, is BYDDY. I'm not sure what this company does, but this thing looks like this has also been stopped and restricted in the sense of buying only one share. Basically, this being said here, that 21 EMA and 34 EMA has been a very strong pattern. Just look at this chart here. It's been slowly grinding here on these levels. The only thing is, like, the volume has not escalated like the other stocks that we looked at. So I find this very weird. Maybe this was like a preemptive, like, let's stop this before they try to, the folks try to run this one up or whatever reason. But that being said here, looking for some support around those parabolic SER dots, basically around $60, and then even back down to 58 would be fairly strong support, as we've seen multiple times on BYDDY. And the next one is the old Beyond Meat. Again, this one has seen its fair shares of moves here. Again, this last earnings wasn't too fantastic, kind of traded sideways, pulled back to that Fibonacci number around 124, 125, and then of course has exploded higher with the amount of volume coming into the stock to the long side. Again, this one kind of shooting here, kind of playing that middle finger volume bar, what we talk about out, with a huge move up to 2221. Now kind of slowly pulling back here, looking for some short-term support around 174, 175, and even down to 165. If that does not hold, we could easily see this back down to 150, with some key levels of breakouts around 200. CCIV, of course, this is one that the old folks, again, this is like the Tesla luxury competitor, was a SPAC, and this is one trying to move higher here. The chart still looks very healthy here on the momentum side. On the momentum side, again, we're looking at those 5 and 8 moving averages. So short-term support around 2140-ish, and even back down to $20, that support will be just fine. And then substantial stronger support would be around 1750 to the downside. This could be potentially making somewhat of a cup and handle here. The level of breakout would be around that $27 level or higher there. That's very early stage cup and handle though. Cllv, again, this is again Chamath Palihapitiya stock. This one is looking interesting. Again, this one is also restricted to one share. With that being said, we are seeing some pretty strong support coming in around 1360 to around 1350 in that range. That's where the 34, the parabolic SAR dots are currently at. The only thing that's a little bit worrisome is the volumes on oscillator and the RSI are not really playing ball with us. So if we do get the 5 and 8 to cross over here and we get a break below that 1350, we could easily see it below 13 to even 1275. But if this wants to trade sideways and try to move its higher, we're going to try to see a break around 16 to 1650 to the upside. CRIS, again, this one, enough said here. This move way back in December got on a lot of people's radars and now has been really moving higher here on that 5 and 8 moving averages here on the daily chart. Pull back to that 2134 EMA buy zone, and now it's potentially trying to move higher here. If it does break $12.15 here, breaking those parabolic SER dots, we could potentially see that run to 1350 or even higher there. CTRM, again, another stock that has been very much talked about on the live streams as well. This thing is looking to continue to try to run higher. Again, this is a penny stock, not my favorite cup of tea, but this thing has some initial support around 56 cents. Not really too much to add there, with some overall pressure around 80 cents to the upside there. Then EXPR, this is Express, right? Yeah. Express, this is the company that used to be in the mall. Like, this was very heavily bought as well. You can see here, look at the amount of volume, the blue bars in the back here, basically trading $1 just about a week ago and now trading up to $13, nearly $14. Of course, this has also been restricted to 5 shares. You can buy 5 shares of this one, but you only can buy 1 share of AMD. That being said, we're looking for some support around $4.43, even back down to $3 for some initial support if we do get a rebound, if those continuous buyers want to support this one to the higher side. So then we have EZGO. Again, this is a newer company as well. Really came out strong here. Nothing really too much to look at here. Again, this on the daily chart, there's not much to see here. Even on the hourly chart, this could potentially be a pretty strong rebound here. I kind of like this play on the hourly chart. If we do stay above that $7.76 range, we could potentially see this one really kick higher and break above $10 to the upside. So I'm actually going to put this one on the old radar here and see on how this one potentially can play out. All right, next one is going to be GM. Yes, GM was on the restricted list. Again, the car company. This thing has been looking very strong, even though the volume has not that muchly greatly increased. But it does have earnings coming out in about a week or so. With this being said, we do have some support around that 21 EMA, which we love to see, around 49 to 50 bucks. So that as long as it stays above that and even back down to 47.50 to $48 would be just fine. But potentially maybe getting earnings run, the next level will be potentially looking for $55 or above for GME. GM, not GME. So now we're going to be jumping into GME. Of course, this is a stock that everyone knows about and everyone has really, if anyone know nothing about stocks, they somehow heard about GME somehow. And then most people are like, that store's still around? Like, just joking. Anyways, that being said, this thing has been, it's literally off the charts. Again, multiple, the indicators and everything are literally broken here. It's basically just like flying into the sun here in the sense of like, it's going to be a magical moment or it's going to burn and die. It's really still up in the air. Again, I want the folks to collect their profits. Honestly, you made a lot of money. I think it's well advised to do that. Looking here on the hourly chart, again, this is what I told folks about to kind of look at with GME. That 34 EMA, if it stays above that here on the hourly chart, which is around basically 300 to 307, we could potentially show some support there. If that breaks, that could be a fairly fast downside. Again, this might be the fastest elevator down if the shorts really win this one. So be very careful on that one. GTE, again, this one has again also been very much talked about. Really not much we can really discuss here on the penny stock stuff, but it has some initial resistance around that 70 cents to the upside, and we have some pretty strong support around 42 cents to the downside there. HMIS, of course, himandhers.com. This again, look at that volume here just coming in here, kind of making somewhat of a cup and handle here. If it starts breaking and staying above $18, $19, we could easily see this potentially try to run to $21 to $22, but we do have some initial support here around 17, 16 to the downside. INO, this is a pharmaceutical vaccine play, I believe. This again has also kind of run up here a little bit, hitting into the wall of resistance around that $14 range, which we saw previously just in early December, late November there. But we do have some support coming in around $10.30 to the downside. IPOE, now we're going back to Chamath Palihapitiya's stocks. IPOE. Yeah, like insane, right? IPOE, this is the SoFi company. This thing came off so hard, hitting that 21 EMA and just made it a complete about face, hitting those levels around 26.43. If this wants to continue, again, this has also been restricted as well on the app. Bouncing off these levels, not too much to kind of go off on a technical basis, but really looking for $26 to $28 to the upside if this strong movement can continue. But again, if they put these restrictions in, it's going to be very difficult to really play a fair game. Let's be honest here. Of course, IPOF, they have not had an announcement, but this is making somewhat of a V-shaped recovery as well, coming off that support around 13.15. If this wants to continue, we can easily see this potentially test $15.50 to $16 to the upside. Then Jag X, again, one that's been, we talked about in the live stream a couple times here, looking for some short-term support around $2.64, even back down to $2.25. But if this wants to trade sideways and we get more momentum in here, especially with the volume has been dying off the last couple days, this potentially could try to run out those shorts as well, again, if this has a significant short position. KOSS, this is another one that has been completely insane here, basically exploding higher here. We are seeing it trying to continue going higher. This has also been restricted to one share. Short-term support around $40, even down to 31. Since this has moved up so much here, we have to be super mindful. If this does break and starts closing below the 34 EMA on the hourly chart, this can easily come back down to $39 to $40. That's for KOSS. LLIT, of course, LLIT. Same kind of practice here. Nothing really much we can say on the Daily chart here, really just strong movement here. Really wanted to find this on the hourly chart with some support around $16.17 on that level there. Another vaccine play, we have the mRNA. That is Moderna. Again, this is kind of making a very beautiful cup and handle. If it does make a movement above 175 to 180, we can easily potentially run to 225. That's a pretty interesting level to see here. With that being said, we do have some short-term support around $162, even some stronger support coming into around 140. Next one is MUX. This one, again, just insane amount of volume coming in and just really driving up the price, looking for some initial overhead resistance around $1.38. Again, this is very much a penny stock, so very hard to kind of put some on it. And then Naked, this is a Naked brand. This moved up quite a bit here, running right into that 200 EMA here around $2.17. Initially looking for that overall resistance to try to break, but we do have some short-term support potentially around $1. NCTY, again, this is another one that has been not crazy amount of run up here, but we saw a lot of volume coming in the beginning of the year, looking for some initial support around $10.67. If that can continue with that momentum carrying us higher, if we do get some more volume coming in, we can easily test that $21 to $22 target as well there. Nokia, of course, this one has also been a very interesting one. In one day, seeing this mass amount of buying coming in one day, running a candle up nearly to $10 here, and then coming back down for some short-term support around $4.50, even on to $4.44 with just a couple days ahead of earnings. So be very mindful about that one. Again, it's an insane looking chart there, right? Another vaccine play, we have NVAX. This thing has really run up here quite a bit here. We saw a squeeze set up, popped higher here, hit right into that level around 218. The next target, if this really wants to continue and this momentum can carry us higher here, we're looking for 255. With some support basically coming in around that 185 to 190 range. Now we're going to be jumping into open. Again, this is another, you're seeing kind of a pattern coming out here. We have another Chamath Palihapitiya IPOC, I believe it was. Really strong looking company here. Fundamentally looking at it, I like this long term. It is bouncing off that 50-day here as well, around that $25 to $24 level. And you have that the 618 EMA, 618 number, the Fibonacci number, parabolic SAR dots, the 50-day simple moving averages. So a lot of support coming in around that $25 to $24 range. If it does want to pop higher and we get those 5 and 8 moving averages to curl us higher, we're easily going to be looking for $27 to even $30 to the upside there. And then we're going to be jumping into RKT. Again, this is another one that's been rocking mortgages. A newer IPO that came out middle of last year, had a huge run higher and then has absolutely done nothing. Basically just kind of meandering here, doing a slight little wave patterns here. With this one, the chart basically tells itself it has not really been able to get out of this range here, basically trying to break and stay above that $22 to $23 range. And we have some really strong support around $20 for Rocket. So this has just kind of been literally rocketing around in between those two prices. Then we have our LX. Again, this is another newer company here. Nothing really much to say here. Again, I don't know if this was like one that was on the message boards. This is just has not really much to look at here. Looking for some initial trying to break out above 25.30, but we do have some short-term support around $21 there to that side level there. Next one, which I didn't even know was an option, was the Rolls-Royce, like Rolls-Royce Holdings. Again, nothing like the charts that we've looked at with a huge squeeze going higher. It's just people have been buying it, but nothing has been happening here. Like absolutely nothing has been happening here. Really nothing much to say here. We need to really see this above $1.50 to see any kind of movement, but that trend is really trying to push us lower. One that I found very strange on the list is, of course, the old Starbucks. Again, just had earnings, not too well. It came back substantially here, selling off here again with the very aggressive moves down for the last 3 days. If this can find support around the 95 to 96, that could potentially hold. but we could easily see this back down to $94 to $92 if the overall market does carry it lower, because the RSI and volumes on oscillator are really kind of pushing this one lower again due to, for whatever reasons, of people just don't like the old Starbucksies. Next one is SHLS. Nothing really much to report here as well. Again, on the hourly chart, we're looking for some initial support around $32 to see how this one plays out. There's not really much technical information that we can look at this one. And then SIEB. This one again, this is a short squeeze or really move higher here. Basically going from $4 to 18. Again, very much just breaking all the mechanics on the charts here. So we have to kind of go to a smaller time frame. We are looking for some initial overhead resistance around $8.43. If that can kind of start curling back up, if we get the cross of the 8 to the 34, that could mean substantial further downside. And then the ETF that tracks for silver. A lot of folks on Wall Street Bets have been talking about trying to run this one up, looking for this movement as well. We saw a pretty strong base here around $23 to $24 with some stronger base around 22 to the 22 range. Really need to see it above $26 to $25 here to really see that momentum kind of carry us higher here. We are seeing a smorgasbord of volume coming in here as well. So if this can carry us through, we can easily see this potentially to try to test its high around $27. SNDL, again, this is a very short-term, smaller penny stock here. We talked about this one as well on the daily chart. Really needs to break above 91 cents. For intraday, it did get all the way up to basically $1.30 nearly, but this thing has been very heavily bought as well. You're seeing again that the middle finger momentum or the middle finger volume bars here as well. So we are potentially looking for some support around 64 cents to the downside. Next, we're going to be SOXL. This is going the 3X bull. 3X bull. Okay, so I thought it was that's socks. Oh my gosh, I feel silly. So this is the movement within the basically it's a leverage ETF. And this has been heavily stopped as well. Initially looking for some support around $473. So nothing really too much to look at there. That's more of a day trade. SRNE, another stock here, looking at this one, looking for this potentially trying to recover here. We did see a pretty strong pullback between that 5 and 8 moving averages and maybe coming back down to around 64, 65 if this does not hold, because it would really need to see these ticks back above the 21 EMA on the daily chart. STPK, this one again has also been pretty impressive stock here, with again a move of a SPAC here coming here trying to hold that 21 EMA, have slightly broken above that, below that I mean, but now looking for some support around $24 to $25 if this can hold. If it doesn't, we could easily see it back down to the 50-day, which is again that $20 range. Next one is going to be TGC. Another impressive looking stock here. That being said here, very heavily bought, so it kind of just puts things off the radar. We've seen this same kind of volume kind of come in towards the October timeframe here, but it came right back down. So if this does not hold, we can easily see this back down to $1.73 around that price range. Next one is TIRX. Again, another newer company here. I'm not too familiar with the stock as well. Again, kind of somewhat of a trending down, so nothing really I can entail on just 3 days of trading here. So cannot really add to that. So TR, again, this is the Tootsie Roll industry. That being said, this has been doing literally nothing, just been kind of trading sideways for forever, as you can see here on the stock here on the weekly chart here. Then getting a huge amount of volume coming in, looking for some initial short-term support around $36 to $35. Almost running around the corner, TRVG. Of course, this is the company as well. Very heavily, just look at the momentum again. I don't know if this can withstand here. We're looking for some initial support around $2.26. Next one is gonna be Workhorse. Yes, this is WKHS. has been a very important stock here as well, again, with the Biden stuff, but has also been very heavy shorted on the hedge fund side. So this has definitely moved substantially higher to that $40 range, has broken out of that previous top here that we talked about multiple times, of that wall of resistance, has finally got the momentum to break above that. We are seeing a lot of volume coming in here. RSI and volumes on oscillator are really helping it push higher here. That if this does pull back, we're going to be looking for initially $30 to hold. If that doesn't hold, we're going to be coming back down to the 21 EMA, with some short dated targets is around $40 to $45 for the old workhorse. And then XM, of course, this is another newer stock. Again, I don't know why this one was halted, but again, something to look at here as well. Nothing really too much fundamental. We can look at that on the stock side. ZOM, this is not Zoom communication stuff that people use to communicate with folks, but this thing had a huge run higher, even actually before this whole fiasco kind of going through here, and it has been kind of maybe looking for some support around 80 cents there. That being said, you just have to be super mindful and careful on what you're doing on this market here. I know we talked about some stocks that, why are they in there? Like well, not AMC, AMD, Starbucks, like that seems a little strange. GM is kind of strange in there. We'll see if these restrictions come into Monday, and we'll have to play it by ear and how to see. Again, I'm not a trader within Robinhood, so I've been thankful not have been restricted by it. Even though I bought some AMD on the pullback in the last couple days. But that being said, be very careful, be very mindful of what is going on out there. The hedge funds are turning the knobs here a little bit, and be very mindful of some trickery going on in the market, especially if the trickery and the continuous momentum of selling and just really the speculation of the sell side being more dominant than the bull side, especially being on restriction buying or on calls or stock, and this could easily pull back the market. So be very mindful of that. And if you don't understand it, just don't touch it. That's the way I look at it. Just keep it simple, right? All right, guys, thank you so very much for stopping by and checking out all these stocks. I know it was a little bit long-winded. Wanted to try something a little bit different here. Again, before you leave, don't forget to like and subscribe on the way out the door, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.